Welcome to the Sports Bros Podcast, featuring the almighty B-Live, the money man Scotty D, and your host, the head of creative Eddie Cool. The Sports Bros Podcast, by the fan, for the fan, talking sports just the way you like it. And without any further ado, let's give it up for the Sports Bros. We talking sports.
It's Wednesday. You know what time it is. We're back this time once again for your favorite sports podcast, none other than the Sports Bros Podcast. We're back from Thanksgiving. Scotty D's feeling better. B-Live is happier now more than ever. So speaking of those two guys, they're not just any guys. What was that, B-Live?
I said, no, I'm not happier more than ever. I can tell you that right now. Yeah, we might have to put that disclaimer before this podcast about, because I may cuss. Let's go. I'm going to go ahead and get that out of the way. But go ahead. My bad. I jumped ahead of the gun. I'm trying.
Yes, quick disclaimer. B-Live might do some cussing. So if you got some kids, it's only going to be one word. Hopefully it's one word. So hopefully it's that. With that being said, I have two of the best hosts in the world. Introducing first, the man at the Shared Studios. Here he is, the almighty B-Live.
What's happening? What's going on in the world today? Let's. All right. The word for today is quarterback. Everything I'm going to talk about in this entire podcast, I mean literally, every single thing I'm going to talk about deals with the quarterback position. Stay tuned. You'll understand why throughout this entire episode. Just go ahead and introduce the other guy who's not the quarterback of this podcast. Go ahead and he's
the most popular.
No, you're not. You're not the focal point. You're not the face. You are a face, all right. A face for radio. But Eddie Cool, you know what you got to do, man.
Hey, listen here, bow tie. Don't get Scotty D started, all right? And speaking of the guy, he is the pride of Washington, Pennsylvania, doing this thing in school at Waynesburg University. He is the one, the only. You youngins, he'll put you in check, like Bowtie and Junior and Clippers and all that. He is the one, the only. Scotty Cum Laude, the money man, Scotty D.
You better not pout, I'm telling you why. The Crimson Tide are coming to town.
Wow.
Yes. The four best teams are in the college football playoff. And just for the record, I have some advice for all of you out there. Don't get COVID. That's my advice. Don't get COVID. I just I spent my 51st birthday in bed because I got COVID. I thought we were done with COVID. I thought we're not all. Isn't that all over with? We're still doing it.
Sheesh. You had the flu, but anyway. And
I wish I had the flu. I had COVID. They stuck the thing up my nose, and then they said, "Hey, you have COVID. Go home and stay away from everyone for the next 6 days."
And I'm gonna tell you something else. You could stick up something talking about the best 4 teams. We're gonna Eddie Cool. Let's just waste no.
All right.
Roll Tide.
I'm tired of waiting. I am sick and tired of waiting. But here we go. Why I am going to emphasize the quarterback position, because somehow, some way, that's all that matters in college football. That's all that matters. We don't need no introduction. We don't need no lead into it. Everybody knows what I'm talking about right now. Anybody that follows anything in sports, we're going into college football and the college football playoff, and for whatever asinine reason, they left Florida State out. I don't like Florida State. Let me make that perfectly clear. I don't like Florida State. I really don't have all that ACC this and conference love and all this stuff. They were just flat out wrong, and I'm going to tell you why before Scotty D even tries to get into it. What's the purpose of playing the games on the field?
You play to win the game.
Right. What did Florida do all year? They won every single game they played. All 13 of them. They won 13 games. They did what they were supposed to do. Defense stepped up where they were supposed to. And the committee took them from 4th to 5th after winning. Where did
Is it the same committee that voted on them all year long that made this choice?
We did supposed to. That's what I
mean.
thought.
The same committee. I mean, because I got to plead ignorance. I don't 100% know, but the same people that put Florida State where they were at 2-3 weeks ago, that is the same group of people, right? That voted them out, right? Okay, just trying to be clear here.
So let me put things into perspective, because a lot of people are screaming. They're like, "Oh, Alabama's the better team. Alabama, da da da. They beat the number 1 team." Let's go ahead and get some things out of the way. Yes, Alabama beat the number 1 team. That was voted on the week prior. They said Georgia was the number 1 team in the nation. They were wrong. Now Alabama is the 4th best team in the nation, which I also think is wrong. Here's the thing. Did y'all watch Monday Night Football yesterday? Y'all watch Monday Night Football? Did y'all see?
I did.
All right. So
I didn't, but like you said, quarterback play be like, go ahead. I know exactly.
You already know where I'm going with this.
Jake Browning, MVP.
For sure. But here's the thing. Jacksonville lost the game, possibly in part because I don't think it had anything to do with Trevor Lawrence getting hurt. They should have closed that game out a long time ago. But Trevor Lawrence got hurt. Jacksonville lost the game. Now, how would you feel if the NFL decided, you know what, Trevor Lawrence, their franchise quarterback for Jacksonville, got hurt. He's going to be hurt for a little bit of time. I don't know yet, really. But say he's out for the season. NFL just says, you know what? We're not going to allow Jacksonville to be in the playoffs because their quarterback's hurt.
That's not fair. That's not fair.
Not fair at all.
That's silly. Absolutely silly.
Let's say right now, Dallas, the game coming up, Dallas versus Philly coming up. Dallas beats Philadelphia by 40. So
sign me up.
They beat the brakes off of them. But at the end of the regular season, Philly's up 1 game on Dallas. Do you give Dallas the division because Dallas beat them by 40?
Nope.
I would.
You would? So record be darned.
Well, I'm a Cowboy fan, so you're asking the wrong guy.
I'm about to say, yeah, we know why you would.
No, your point is well taken. I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
So tell me where it makes sense. Because Florida State didn't have the best offensive production in the ACC championship. They lost their star quarterback, but they won 13 games. The committee decided that 12-1 is better than 13-0. Where, when, and how? I can understand if this was a group of 5, FCS, it was a completely different. These are Power 5 conferences where 13-0, they said, no, 12-1 is better than 13-0. And that's what, here's the thing. It's
not like they're Central Florida.
Hey, here's the thing. I can understand if they were like, okay, 13-0 Michigan, 13-0 Washington, 13-0 Florida State, and they ranked Florida State 3rd because between the 3 13-0 teams. They took all the consideration of the fact, okay, they may not be playing the best ball. All the other BS that they try to throw at us. They even said, Boo Corrigan, the conference of the CFP committee chairman, even said this is how they take 1, 2, and 3, and then they go 4, 5, and 6, and take those 3 teams, 4, 5, and 6, and pick which one is the best out of the 3. Tell me why Florida State isn't part of the 1, 2, 3 conversation. Make that quarterback, because he got hurt, not because of play on the field, not because of what they did on the field, not 13-0, not winning the ACC championship, quarterback got hurt. But tell me in what world that they ranked Texas over Florida. Everybody's making an Alabama versus Florida State. They ranked Texas above Florida State too. How did they take Florida State 13-0 and take them out of the top three? And
I have an answer.
Go for it. Yeah, please, because I could dominate this whole show right now. Go ahead, my bad.
Scotty D, before you go, can I read a quick quote from Boo Corrigan? First of all, you're a grown man named Boo. I'm getting this from For the Win, and quote by Boo Corrigan, who is the on the committee of the college football playoffs. He says, "Well, I take a looking at it, and again, that was the decision. Was Alabama at number 4, or Alabama at number 4. Florida State is a different team than they were through the first 11 weeks of the season. And Coach Norvell, their players, their fans, an incredible season. But as you look at who they are as a team right now, without Jordan Travis, without the offensive dynamic that he brings to it, they are a different team. And the committee voted Alabama 4 and Florida State number 5. Be Live, I'm with you. That makes no sense. Scotty D, go ahead. Say what you got to say.
My personal opinion on this, and by the way, I was kidding at the top of the show. I am 100% on your side on this. My belief is just that the committee had dead set on putting an SEC team in there. And because Alabama beat Georgia, they could not justify leaving Texas out. So they made Florida State the patsy, the scapegoat, so to speak. They used the injury as an excuse, which doesn't hold water to me because they said they aren't the same team. Well, in this SEC or in the ACC championship game against Louisville, they played their third string quarterback, not their second string quarterback, who, by the way, will be ready whenever the next set of games come around. I think he was in concussion protocol, right? He's got 3 to 4 weeks to be ready for this game. So you're telling me that he is also not good enough to help this team win, when in fact we don't really know that. He's an unknown still because he really didn't get to play. You think the naysayers would say Ohio State didn't deserve a shot at the national championship a few years back because Braxton Miller got hurt and Cardale Jones was going to be the quarterback? They ran through the competition with Cardale Jones as their quarterback, their number 2 guy. He got afforded the opportunity. The Philadelphia Eagles ran the table after their MVP quarterback, Carson Wentz. He was having an MVP season. He went down, and Nick Foles carried them to a Super Bowl. The backup quarterback can do it. To dismiss an entire team, all of the players, based on the fact that one guy got hurt, is completely unfair. And I have to wonder, what would have happened 2 weeks ago had Auburn played defense on the final play of the game against Alabama and not given up a 4th and 31 touchdown? Because at that point, say Alabama still beats Georgia, what would the committee have done? Would they have then kept Georgia in just because they wanted the SEC to still be in there? And had they done that, you then don't have the dilemma of the Texas beats Alabama, because now Texas has beat a 2-loss team. So my argument is that one play knocked out Georgia and Florida State. It took out 2 teams and completely flipped everything around. Had Auburn just knocked the ball down, I don't think we're having this conversation today at all.
And I have to think about this. I think we're still having this conversation because, well, you know what? You're right in one sense, because they had to put Texas ahead of Alabama because of the head-to-head. The problem that I have is that you're absolutely right when it comes to SEC, and I'm just going to say the word bias. Lining, fattening up pockets. That's all this is. You literally, I don't like Florida State at all. They just cross the board. I can't say that enough. I have to advocate for this because it's flat out wrong. It's wrong. It's a slap to Florida State. I could care less about conference affiliation, but it's a slap to the ACC. It's like, so you're telling me nothing we did, it don't matter. Florida State, not only did Florida State have 2 SEC teams that they scheduled out of conference, beat LSU more than Alabama did.
Mhm.
So common opponent, better record, undefeated, conference champion. Those are all the main criteria. 1, 2, 3, and 4. They went to other circumstances. They went bottom of the barrel to pull up injury. They're not. What do you mean they're not the team?
They dismissed an entire season based on that. Dismissed the whole season.
If they're not the team that they were, let it show on the field. I don't care. It would have been a draw. People would have wanted to see it. It's a semifinal game, Michigan versus Florida State, which should have been Michigan versus Texas. That's a whole nother argument within itself. Florida State should be 3 based on their record. It's not like they said, the committee said that the ACC is a pushover. They also said that LSU and Florida don't matter. The first 11 games don't matter. The 12th game didn't matter because the 12th game where Rodemaker was actually in the game and they beat Florida on the road. They went to Gainesville and still beat Florida. Man,
I just don't understand the logic in this because, as you said, Be Live, the criteria, the common opponent, the undefeated record, the conference championship, 1, 2, 3. So you figure that would be an automatic shoe-in. So those that want to say there's no SEC bias, well, what I have on my paper here, you can't see it, but Michigan, Washington, Texas, and a 1-loss Alabama team. And a 1-loss Alabama team that won their conference, but yet still there's that one loss blemish. I'm just amazed at the fact that they used Jordan Travis and the lack of offensive production in the ACC championship game to discredit Florida State season. It just rubs me the wrong way. That's why I'm okay with the expansion of the college football playoffs. It'll be more convoluted. It'll be a whole lot more going on. But at least but at least when you're in the playoffs, you qualify, you get in, and you'll be having a chance to play for the national championship. Because I don't know what's worse, this or the BCS mess. I mean, what the hell's going on?
This kind of makes you miss the BCS, doesn't it? Yeah. But two points I want to make here. Number one, Paul Feinbaum, he needs to shut his face because he's out there saying, stop with the fake outrage. Well, dude, you're an SEC homer to start off. And 2, you're not a college kid who only gets this opportunity once in a lifetime. NFL players go on and play for 8 to 10 years. These college kids at Florida State, a lot of them, they don't get to come back next year and do this again. So Paul Feinbaum, who I've always have liked and respected, now he makes me want to slap him a little bit. And number 2, if you go back 2 weeks ago, Arizona scored 59 points against Arizona State. That's a lot of points. They should be in the top 4. If you can score 59 points against the Sun Devils, I think you should also be in the top 4 because that is.
You couldn't help yourself.
If you can score 59 points,
good points all throughout this. We've been in agreement. We've had a good time. Not a good time, but at least we were in agreement that you had to be. You got
that you have to admit, 59 is a lot of points. That is a lot. If you can score 59 points in a college football game, and that was more than Texas, they scored 57 that week. They scored more.
All right. I see what's going on here. So to put a ball, this is going off the track real quick.
Every week,
yeah, all right. Every week. So here we go.
College football undermined itself, and he's still got to do this.
All right. So here we go. In the top 4 teams: Michigan, Washington, Texas, and Alabama. I think either way, it'll still be an exciting college football playoffs. But we're on the record was like, look, Florida State should have been in, and it's just bull junk, bull dookie, and whatever. All right, fellas, so moving right along to the National Football League. We had 2 marquee games this weekend: the Green Bay Packers and the Kansas City Chiefs, and the San Francisco and the Philadelphia Eagles. Chiefs lost. Packers won. Eagles, I'm still looking for them. I can't find them. The San Francisco 49ers established their dominance, so I have one of 2 questions. So here's the first question. Has San Francisco convinced us that they are the best team in the league, Best team in all football. Hey, are we convinced? Who wants to go first? You want me to go first?
I'll take that one. I am
Okay.
thoroughly convinced. I am absolutely convinced. As I watched this team, what they score 42 points against the Eagles. Is that what
Yeah,
the final
42
score
points.
is?
42.
42-19.
And
Yeah,
earlier in the
42-19.
season, they scored 42 against the Cowboys, and those are their two biggest NFC rivals at this point in time. I can't find a weakness on this team. Everywhere you look, this team is loaded. They are studs across the board on the defensive side of the ball. On offense, their receivers are deep. Their third receiver is Jennings, and he's good.
Mm-hmm.
Kittle, you could consider a receiver. One of the best tight ends in football. Their offensive line blocks well. McCaffrey looks like he could be on pace for an MVP type of season right now. And Purdy has not weakened. We kept thinking, well, at some point he's going to show that he's still like this young Mr. Irrelevant guy, and he just doesn't. And part of that is the fact that they have superior coaching. I can't see how this team loses. No matter who comes through the AFC side, I just don't see how I don't see how they lost 3 times. I know injuries nicked them up, and they had a big boy was out, the receiver, and
Trent Williams.
Trent Williams was out, yeah, and Debo
and
was
Debo
out.
Samuel, yep.
Yeah, those guys both missed a little time, but and that obviously affected them. And they just, it's going to happen during the course of an NFL season where your teams are going to have a slump or a bad game here and there, but they're clicking right now. I can't see this team losing again. I just don't think they're going to lose again. I think they are going to run the table all the way to trophy time in February.
Mother Mary and all the things that people do in all respective religions and et cetera, et cetera. San Francisco, pray. Just pray and hope that nobody gets hurt. They have.
Yeah, that's all teams, though. That's all teams.
No. Here's the thing. Scotty D not Scotty, but Eddie Cool, he alluded to it earlier when he said that Carson Wentz led the Eagles all the way, and then Nick Foles won the Super Bowl. San Fran didn't do that when Brock Purdy got hurt last year. But
he was the backup.
That was an impossible situation. They were on their 4th string. That's pretty terrible.
Yeah.
But
no, I get your point. If Purdy goes down, they probably will not run it. I'm going through my evaluation based on the assumption that these guys are all playing.
That's where that's what I was actually going to allude to, is not actually Brock Purdy, because they were a second tier team when Trent Williams, which arguably is the best offensive lineman in the game, and Debo Samuel was hurt. And like I said, you can say that about any team with any injury, but with a elite quarterback, they shift their game, they lean more on the running game, et cetera, et cetera. And the 49ers showed that they couldn't do that. That's why they lost 3 games. I mean, Brock Purdy was average at best without those 2 players. Other elite quarterbacks overcome those injuries and highlight other players. So here's the thing. Yes, they've convinced me that they are the best team in the NFL. When healthy. But it's a war of attrition when it comes to the NFL. Somebody's going to get hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And man, if it's one of those things, that's also a track record for the 49ers, especially with the players that they have. Like Christian McCaffrey somehow just healthy forever now, but I feel like he's one step away from it. Debo has actually been a little bit injury prone. Who says it doesn't happen again? I don't know. Yes, they've convinced me that they're the best team when healthy, and I hope that they stay healthy, and I hope that they do their thing.
Yep, and just like you said, I'll go ahead and chime in too. If you look at the numbers, because it's a game about numbers. If you look at the numbers, they're 5th in defense, and they allow 15.8 points a game. On the offensive side of the ball, they rank 3rd with 29.3 points a game, and they average close to 400 yards per game and 391.9 yards a game. Christian McCaffrey already has 1,000 yards on the season, and that leads all the NFL. And I'm looking at some more stats. As impactful as Deebo Samuel is, he's not even the leading wide receiver on the team. Instead, it's Brandon Ayuk, a guy that don't talk about that much, who has 927 yards. So I'm like when Scotty, as soon as I didn't have a chance to watch the game because I do that thing called work. You don't want to hear about that mess. So when I saw the score, I was like, damn. So if you look at them across the board, top notch. This team is loaded. This team is stacked, and this team is the real deal. When they played that first game against Pittsburgh, I said, okay, Pittsburgh might give them enough for their money, and they just came out and just, you want some 2-0 man? and they gave the Steelers all they can handle and then some. I'll say it like this. When I watched the Eagles last week and what they did against Josh Allen and the Bills at home in those horrible conditions when Josh Allen pretty much had his best game of the season and the Eagles came back and won, I was like, you know what? Jalen Hurts, that's an MVP performance. But then this week comes around and they play the 49ers. Now this happened. Now the 49ers did this on the road at the Link. I'll say it like this. The NFC Championship is theirs to lose, and the Super Bowl is there to lose. So whoever the AFC has, hey, look, you better bring your best. Speaking of the AFC, let's go on over there. The Chiefs put one on the chin against the Green Bay Packers. A lot of questionable calls and missed calls, should I say, at the end of that game. So the Chiefs are kind of, they're 8-4 right now, if I'm not mistaken. They're 8-4 at the moment. With that being said, are the Chiefs the favorite in the AFC? And if not, who do you guys think is the favorite?
Well, I could tell you this off rip. If I were to tell you that the Kansas, I think because Jacksonville lost, I wonder if Jacksonville and Kansas City are tied and Kansas City would have the tiebreaker. But before last night's game, Kansas City was the 4th seed in the AFC. I think it may have changed to 3rd. I haven't looked at it just yet. But in Kansas, anybody got some extra hands out there looking for hands for their wide receivers?
Oh God.
Anybody got hands? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fingers, hands, because they just don't have it. If I am any defensive coordinator that's faced the Kansas City Chiefs, double Travis Kelce, spy on Patrick Mahomes, the wrap. Their offense is not as dynamic, not as scary as they used to be. I guarantee you right now that Patrick Mahomes is sitting with the Wolverine meme sitting there just missing Tyreek Hill right now. Oh, I miss Tyreek Hill. He's just amazing. Why didn't we pay him? Because Tyreek Hill is just over in Miami living his best life.
Mm-hmm.
Living it up. Bruh. Patrick Mahomes needs Tyreek Hill right now. He doesn't need one of the wide receivers on his team to be Tyreek Hill. He just needs somebody to be able to catch the ball. Anybody outside of Travis Kelce, just catch the ball. You can see he's able to stretch the ball downfield. Yes, that should have been pass interference. He got mauled. It is what it is. But man, oh man, I don't know what to tell you. They're not the best team. They don't scare people. And only reason why I'm not worried about them making it to the playoffs, et cetera, is because their division is terrible. But besides that, they're not the best team. I'm going to give that nod to the Baltimore Ravens. They seem more well-rounded. Their defense is getting there, doing what it do, et cetera, et cetera. So my nod goes to the Baltimore Ravens at this time.
Well,
Scotty D, what say you?
Yeah, we may not be even having this conversation had that penalty flag been thrown on Sunday night down near the goal line, because I got to believe that at that point, from the 5-yard line, 6-yard line, whatever, the Chiefs would have found a way into the end zone and won that game. And give credit to the Packers. That is a much improved team. They're, to quote Boo, they're not the same team now as they were at the beginning of the year.
A grown-ass man named Boo.
Right.
Anyways, go ahead.
But having
getting a 2-point conversion, they were down by 8.
Yeah, I get that. I think with Patrick Mahomes, they find a way to do all that, and that game at the very least goes into overtime. Now, having said that, they scored 19 points total. The week before at home against Philly, they scored 17, none in the second half. So offensively, they're having problems. You mentioned Tyreek Hill, but could it be that maybe Mahomes is actually missing Eric Bieniemy a little bit? Because he was kind of the guy that was his partner he was working with, and Matt Nagy now starting to come under a little bit of fire. To me, though, I look at the Ravens and I hear what you're saying. They are very stout defensively and playing very well. They have not proven to me that they're good in the postseason just yet. I don't think the Chiefs have to be the number 1 seed to come through the AFC and win the Super Bowl. If they have to play an extra game, I think that they can do that. The other AFC teams right now, you're looking at Jacksonville, with who I thought was shaky anyway, with their top quarterback hurt. The other 2 teams I thought that were their biggest threat are the Bengals, who don't have their quarterback, and the Bills, who may not qualify for the postseason. Because the other AFC teams, Indianapolis in the postseason, Pittsburgh, those teams don't worry me at all. I don't think the AFC has – I think they are more kind of thinned out, with the Bills having a bad year, getting off to a bad start. And they still could qualify, by the way. And the Bengals having lost their quarterback, because they were just starting to kind of round into form when Joe Burrow came in. And I have all the faith in the world that Joe Burrow was going to win that division for that team. If not, they were going to at least be a wild card team, because Baltimore is still very good. But I still think when it's all said and done, it is going to be Kansas City playing for that trophy. I don't think they beat San Francisco, but I think that they're going to be the team that gets into that game.
I have a little teensy bit. I grew a little bit of faith in Jake Browning for the Bengals. He looks,
he did look good, but it's still an uphill battle to expect him to, because they're not. It's not like they are 10-3 and lost Joe Burrow. They are what? I think that was their 6-6, I think, or 5-6. They're 6-6. Yeah. So they still have to. I mean, they still have a little bit of an uphill battle as far as even climbing back up into the playoff picture. But if Pittsburgh keeps losing games like to Arizona, like this past week, they're going to help. They're going to help a little. And they also, with a quarterback injury, Kenny Pickett getting hurt, but that may not have been that big of a deal, because Trubisky and Pickett don't seem to be very different from one another. And Pittsburgh fans are just going crazy here in this general area because of this situation.
Well, I know they're losing their mind. They got rid of Matt Canada. Now it's just Kenny Pickett. He's hurt. He's going to be out for several weeks.
Yeah.
Now they got Mitchell Trubisky. Now it's like, what the hell is going on? Everybody in Pittsburgh is cussing. Go ahead, B-Live.
But yes, I just want to put a quick bug in your ear, because if the season ended today, yeah, it'd be something crazy. Week 18 is going to be huge for a completely different reason. Indy versus Houston. That is going to, because Indy beat Houston and they own the tiebreaker right now, and they're both 7-5. If Houston comes back and wins week 18, that could catapult them into the playoffs. I just want to throw that out there. But when it comes to yes, the AFC is there's 6 teams that are 7-5, 4 teams that are 8-4. It is a lot goings on. Let's see, Miami's 9-3, Baltimore's 9-3, Kansas City 8-4, Jacksonville's 8-4, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Indy, Houston are 7-5. Cincy and Buffalo are 6-6. Cincy is in 10th, Buffalo is 11th.
And Buffalo, I think Buffalo is better than some of those teams ahead of them. But coming up, they are at Kansas City, who is probably going to be a little bit angry having lost this game. Then they get the Cowboys at home, and they finish the season at the Dolphins. They also have a game in there at the Chargers. So it's not easy to just say they're going to just run the table and get to 11 wins. I think maybe 10 wins could get them in, but it's not a given.
Are we discounting the Dolphins? Because they are the best team in the AFC right now, and we have not mentioned them. I mentioned Tyreek Hill, but
yeah, maybe we are dismissing them too soon, and maybe they are the best team in the AFC. They've struggled against other good teams, but they have looked pretty impressive.
I'm glad you said that, B-Live, because I was going to say, okay, everybody's talking about Baltimore. Let's not forget about the Dolphins. Tyreek Hill, Tua seems to be an instant connection. They're getting Achane back. They're starting to get some vital parts of that team back. Because look at who they beat the brakes off the Panthers in Week 6. I don't even want to talk about this Patriots game. Let's see, looking at the schedule here. Okay, they've the team that's supposed to beat the Jets, the Commanders. Next up are the Titans. They'll probably beat the hell out of them. And that Week 18 game where the Bills got to go to Miami. It's going to be hot. In Buffalo, it's cold, and we know how that fares out. So, look, don't count Tua and crew out. I'm just saying, like, looking at Miami, they are looking really. I mean, they're good. We know they're good. But for some reason, they're under the radar because everybody's looking at Baltimore and looking at Kansas City. Hey, man, don't forget about the fish, man. Don't forget about the fans. Just think.
Well, and not only that, but they're not on prime time because the Jets and Giants have been on prime time. Yeah. And Bears. I mean, we haven't seen a lot of Tua on Monday night or Sunday night because we're watching Daniel Jones and Zach Wilson play.
And speaking of that, NFL, come here. You should up the flex scheduling to Week 10 instead of Week 13. Because Week 10, we kind of have an idea of who is who and what is what. I don't want to see no Bears, Panthers. A lot of these Thursday night games have been disappointing. The only good one was like the Bengals and the Ravens. It's just been and then the Cowboys and the Seahawks. That was a good Thursday night game. But the NFL, man, you guys have got to do better when it comes to scheduling these games, man, especially these Thursday night games, because it's already a struggle bus for those of us that work during the week trying to watch these damn Thursday night games and giving us badass football. No.
And you put them on Amazon. That's another thing that I hate.
And then everybody ain't got Amazon. And then everybody tripping and everybody complaining. And then
the NFL, by the way, did flex a Monday Night Football game for the first time, Eddie. I don't know if you saw that, but they yanked the Patriots and Chiefs off of Monday Night Football on the 18th. They're going to get Eagles Seahawks instead.
This is what we want to see. We don't see no more Patriots on TV. No more. We just I'm just tired of seeing bad football. I'm just tired of seeing bad football. I'm not gonna lie to you. When the Bears and the Panthers played, I fell asleep midway through the third quarter. I'm like, I'm done.
They should put Arizona on. They scored 59 points against Arizona State.
Lord have mercy. I'm looking at my watch. Go ahead, be live.
No.
Go ahead.
You got it right. Just look at the watch.
Yep.
Pay him.
I'm
59.
I'm looking at my watch, fellas, and guess what time it is?
It's time for Scotty D to shut the hell up. I'm sorry, my bad.
Man, taking jabs and shots. So I'm glad you asked it this time for our favorite portion of the show, the choices of the voices. That being said, hey, yo, Button, hit it. Choices of the voices coming at you right here on the Sports Bros Podcast. Good.
Hey, it's Eddie Cool here from the Sports Bros Podcast. Thank you for listening, and as always, continue to follow us on all of our social media platforms. Just click the link in the description box and keep up with the Sports Bros Podcast. And once again, thanks for listening.